Hey, what's up everyone, Morey Croson here, and today we're going to be talking about the drive phase and giving you some tips on how you can improve the drive phase. As always, if you like the information, go ahead and click that thumbs up down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you have any questions, comments, recommendations, go ahead and leave those down below. We're going to hop in the video right now. Alright, so for today's video, what I did is I'm going to do a comparison between me and Anthony Schwartz. Anthony Schwartz recently ran a 4.2 640, and so what I really wanted to be able to do is, give some comparison between, what he's doing within his 40 and then, and kind of the start phase as well as the drive phase in comparison to me to really, and also give you the opportunity to see how these breakdowns work, right? This is going to be very similar to if you sent in your video to me and how I break it down to be able to really give you a large amount of information to help you out in improving your speed. So if we watch my first step here, when I'm beginning to take off, you can see when my foot lands, right, in the position that my foot lands and my opposite leg, right? And I think this is really important. I've started to realize this a little bit more recently. And so we'll see the same thing here with Anthony Schwartz. He drives, and notice now when his front foot lands, right, and where his back leg is. Okay, we're in similar positions. I'm a little bit more horizontal here in this point than he is. But I think my foot ends up being in, I like my front foot position. I just don't like, the amount of pullback that I got in my foot before my other leg, came forward. So just being able to get those legs to be able to create a little bit more speed a little bit earlier on seems to help in being able to pick up more speed faster, right? And you can see the same thing here with the second step. He's about touching right there. And I'm touching about right there, right? So big difference in terms of how fast my legs are moving, also how much ground that I'm picking up in comparison to Anthony Schwartz, right? You can see how his knee drive really was able to get those legs up just because of that difference of the spine position. And that really makes a big difference here in being able to really maximize your turnover and then transitions into the drive phase. So I'm going to go a little bit further on just because, we want to get more and more into the drive phase here. That was his seventh step. Right, and really what's going to end up, let's go back 2 steps. So this is really going to be, the main part of the drive phase here. 4, 5, right? And so you can see, again, some differences between me and him. And really what I'm trying to do, because I feel like I get through my drive phase too fast. And I think this is a super important thing to be able to understand as any type of athlete that's trying to get faster, is being able to really master that drive phase or acceleration phase is critical to be able to get to your top speed. And so if you watch me and how I'm kind of transitioning from my drive phase to my top end speed, one of the things that stands out is but the first thing that stands out to me is the difference of the arm swing, right? So if we watch his arm swing and how he's driving that arm, forward, and then as he really pulls back, how he's pulling back. So, there's a position of the spine that matters, obviously, but then how that elbow just continues to go all the way through and up, I think really helps him being able to maintain a little bit more verticality, a little bit more naturally. Or if we watch me and how I get to this point when I'm driving my elbow back, and then I kind of stop my elbow for a second and then pull back from there. That's going to impact how my foot is striking the ground. So now my foot's going to strike the ground with a little bit more of a knee bend to it, and going to take a little bit longer to get off the ground. So let's see, timing wise, he's at 3.50 and off by 3.60. I'm probably touching it maybe 6.3, right? Ground contact at 6.3. And then I'm off by 0.74. So maybe, a hundredth of a second difference between him and mine, but end up being a big difference in terms of how the force is getting generated. Notice how he's a lot more vertical in his positioning here in comparison to me. So now there becomes a time period where we got to be able to really maximize the ability to, drive that foot out in front and be able to create that pullback here. And that's another thing that I think is important with that arm swing, is being able to time that up. So if we notice him, when he's going here and he's pulling that leg back, it's really very well synced up with that front leg. Now he's a little bit different in how he's not getting a lot of extension out in front, but he's being able to really sync up that leg pull with that front leg and that arm, right? We can see how those are both happening the timing of it's very good. We'll do the same thing for me, where I'm trying to pull back here, and right when my foot's about to touch the ground is when I'm extending my elbow. So I think that's what makes a big difference in being able to have a little bit longer foot contact time, right? And again, I'm really just comparing this to me and my own run. So I'm going to be able to improve my contact time. I want to be able to improve how I'm pushing off the ground. I think being able to sync up my arms a little bit more effectively is going to do that. I want to be able to work on my start to make it so I can get myself in a better position into the drive phase, right? Because my legs were a little bit slow. Now I end up being a lot more forward than I think I need to be, right? If we look at him and how his posture is in comparison to my posture, we can see two very big differences there. And so that ends up being a big part in, again, being able to address my own particular run and being able to, really maximize that. Another important thing here is he's getting into like 12 yards here, 12 steps, and now he's starting to really look up and, starting to get more into his top speed at this phase. I think I was a little bit earlier in my run where I started looking up, which I think impacts my ability to really reach that top speed. I know, once I'm getting through my drive phase, I'm not as consistent as creating that pullback. So you can see my right leg and how I'm pulling back with my right leg in comparison to my left side, right? See how my left side's really not creating very much pullback there, which is definitely going to impact my ability to get to my top end speed, as cleanly, and most importantly, just be able to really maximize how much overall speed development I can even create. So, going back into this now, I'm going to want to be able to really create a lot better understanding of my start. So I'll just work on my starts a lot more to be able to really create that turnover that I was talking about at the beginning, get those legs to switch a little bit faster. I also am going to be able to, or want to be able to sync up my arms a little bit better, so I can do different types of sprinting drills to be able to sync up my arms, A skips, B skips, different types of just high knees, things where I could just really focus on how I'm moving my lower body and my legs, and then how I'm moving my upper body. And then with the extension, I just work on leg cycles. I go on the curved treadmill and I just keep on working on my leg cycles. And I feel my left leg has a little bit harder time opening up. The top of my left hamstring is a little bit tighter than my right hamstring. I have had right hamstring issues, right, in the past. I haven't had any left hamstring, like injuries or anything like that. I do have kind of like a nagging knot in my left hamstring that really impacts how well I can fully extend it out. It seems to be the case. And so, I'm always stretching my legs and always continuing to, try to create length through there. But because of how often I work out my lower body, that upper left hamstring is always seeming to be, something that's a bit of a nagging knot that's creating a, inability to obviously create that pullback. So, going to continue to work on that. Hopefully by being able to sync up, better with my arms and my legs, I'll be able to create a little bit more length through my whole back line, which should make a big difference in, improving my running. But that's, again, just a example of, being able to, one, put a concentration on the drive phase and, some of the key critical parts of the drive phase. I do think in that part, you have to be able to, because at the very beginning, the arms and the legs, it's always important, but they're very, very explosive, right? The arms are going to be working at a really high range of motion, right, at the beginning, and then the legs are going to be working a lot more at a faster range, right? They're going to be going much more quickly, and then there's going to be a switch, as you get to your top end speed, now you really open up with your legs, and your arms are, trying to go as fast as possible, right? So there ends up being a transition from, a little bit longer with the arms and a little bit faster with the legs to a little bit longer with the legs to a little bit faster with the arms as you transition from the start to top end speed. Now, as you transition from there, that drive phase ends up being a critical part of where you want to be able to continue to sync those legs and arms up in order to make it so when you get to your top speed, you're able to do it very, very effectively. A lot of people are really good at their starts and are really good at their top end speed. Not everybody. There's a lot of people that are watching this too that are, having trouble with their start and their top end speed. But most people, I would say, that are really high level runners or even, pretty high level performers, even guys that are running 4.7, 4.8, are really struggling with their transition time, that time in between. So you got to be able to really focus on that and really put a lot of time in improving that in order to really make it so you can make a big improvement within your overall sprinting capabilities. All right. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave those in the comments down below. I would highly recommend you guys checking out one of our speed breakdowns. I think it'll be hugely beneficial for you just because, one, I'll be able to give you multiple breakdowns over and over and over again to really make it so we can really concentrate on your sprinting technique, sprinting form, really focus on your sprinting technique and sprinting form. And then you can also check out the speed program. Same type of thing. It's just 3 months. With the speed breakdown, it's only 1 month. So whichever one ends up working out, you're going to end up paying about the same price either way. But, the big thing with just getting breakdowns in general is it really creates a shed of light on what are some of the things that you need to be able to work on, and being able to really see it like this and compare it gives you a lot of frame of reference for what you're doing in comparison to what you need to be doing, as well as a coach to be able to give you some insight into it as well. So again, guys, thanks for watching. Hope this was helpful, and we'll talk to you soon.